फिर से एक बार बिखर जाते हैं चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं.
Welcome back to the Music City Surrey Showcase. My name is Keely Ramage-Scott, and I am so excited to talk to more talented musicians here in the City of Surrey today, starting with, this is KARISHMA DEO. KARISHMA, so nice to meet you properly, and I guess we would have met previously at the showcase in person a few years back.
Yeah. I think we met at, well, my younger brother, Koshal.
Yeah.
Who's also been on the show.
Yeah.
He was at last year's showcase, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we briefly met. We briefly met.
But you both do music, and Koshal told us a little bit about the stories of your YouTube days, but I kind of wanted to get your side of the story, both about like the family music dynamic and also kind of how you got into it and what moved you into like where you are now with music, because we know that brothers all have different sides of the stories and what whose side is correct, you'll probably both have a different opinion on.
Yeah.
Let's see where it comes from.
Yeah. I mean, well, so KARISHMA, I am the second of 3 siblings, and we're all in music. So my oldest brother is Christian, obviously me, then second, and then Koshal is my younger brother.
Yeah.
We all, grew up doing music. My mom was so huge into singing. So she was like, as soon as, we were like a couple years old, she's like, I want to form a band.
Yeah.
So she's like, that's what I want to do. Like some people want to form like, I want to have my own football team, and they have like 7 or 8 kids or how many you need for a football team. But my mom was like that. And so we started off with like different instruments. Mm-hmm. So like Koshal would play the drums. Yeah. My older brother would play the guitar, and then I would play piano. Yeah. And then slowly mom shifted us all into vocals. Yeah. And it was really fun, actually, like from a young age to sort of see what music is like, because there's so much to explore. And I think it was such a blessing to get to do that with music and sort of find a footing and find a voice. Especially for me, I was so quiet as a kid. So it was like the perfect outlet for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And I saw that you went to Berkeley for music.
I did. Well, I mean, like, went is, went online.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I know a couple people that did the online program too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great program. Yeah. A couple years I was doing music there, songwriting and music theory. Yeah. And then there was like a summer sort of workshop that was happening in Boston. Mm-hmm. So Koshal and I flew out for the weekend, and that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like? Because I know that different people have different opinions on studying music. Do you find that it allowed you to kind of explore more of your passions towards it, or did it kind of make you like, oh, I'm frustrated with this now because it's like something that's education?
I don't know, actually. Maybe a little both. Yeah. Just because, like, sometimes I feel like when I get too in my head about, like, I feel like theoretically, like, music can be such, like, step-by-step procedure. And I can get myself into a place where I'm like, oh, well, I've got to do these 5 or 6 vocal practices right before I can sing anything. And sometimes when you're in that mood that you just want to sing, it's like it holds you back almost. Yeah. So I feel like theory, it depends on, like, it's your off days. Like those are the days I'm like, I just want to sing. And you become super critical of yourself. Like I've always felt that, like, if I don't feel I'm up to par today, I'll be like, I just don't even want to sing today. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Then I feel like it can be a bit of a holdback. Yeah. But I feel like knowledge, especially in music, like, there's so much to learn, and it's always just a blessing to be able to learn.
And it should still be something you enjoy too.
Yeah. 100%.
So you do a mixture of both Western music and then classical Indian music as well. Tell me a little bit about kind of your experience in both of those worlds.
Yeah, let's see. Classical music, like Indian classical music, is very, well, I think I'd find them Western and Indian to be very technical. Yeah. But Indian is very heavily technical in the sense that, like, they'll encourage parents to get your children into music at like 3 or 4 years old and be like, so we're going to start you at basic scales, and then we're going to move you into like modes and different things, like, as they get older. And the point is to just make them like an extremely technically talented individual, right?
Yeah. Which we said doesn't always suit itself to passion.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Because what happens is like you become so used to what should be done, and there's not enough, I would say, like there could be more emphasis on finding an artistic voice. And that's where I found a bit of a difference. Yeah. With Western music was like, okay, so what kind of a tone do like the teachers that I've had would tell me like there's different types of tones. There's like a Broadway tone, or there's operatic like singing, if I'm saying that correctly. And it's like, you know, what do you want to sound like? And that shapes who you are as an artist. And these are things that like I learned after maybe 10 or 12 years of learning Indian classical music. It's like, oh, okay, it opened my brain to a whole different set of things. And yeah, it started like my journey of artistic music, if I can say that, because I was doing singing for technical singing for a while.
Yeah. And pop music can be a lot looser too, I'm sure, in some ways.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like even like what they call like Bollywood music is kind of like the pop music of like Indian music.
Yeah.
So that's what they call like, oh, it's like the really light stuff. It's like, it doesn't take much effort, but in reality it does take effort. Just a different type of effort.
Yeah. I guess almost the same way Broadway or sort of musical theater would be different than pop singing like Billie Eilish or something like that.
Yeah. 100%.
Cool. Do you write as well?
I do.
Yeah.
I do write.
What's your songwriting process like? Do you write in both Hindi and in English, or more one than the other?
I do like to write in both.
Yeah.
I think reason being is I started singing. It's weird. I got into vocal lessons, which was like Broadway music when I was about 9 years old.
Right.
And I started there. And so I'm born and brought up in Canada. So I had a very like, if you want to say like, I had a very strong American or like Canadian accent when I sang in Indian languages. Yeah. And so, and my diction would be completely off. Yeah. So, which I was so fortunate that my mom would pick up and she'd be like, okay, so you got to correct some of your pronunciation on certain sounds that like, it took me a while to like say we have D, like duh in like English, but they'll have a like like things like that, which were like, okay, like how do I make these kinds of sounds? And at a young age, you don't know. And I'm just glad my mom taught me those things. But one second, I think I lost course of the question. I think I'm rambling.
Like, no, you're good. It's both like songwriting and like which like your experience is both in like writing and performing in Hindi or English.
Yeah.
So that's great.
So I think just writing wise, because I was introduced to Hindi and because it's over time, I've had to speak with my vocal coaches in Hindi and had to learn the language. Yeah. That I feel like it has been fun for me to learn and try to translate into Hindi. So English is always like more comfortable for me. Right. Because I know how to express myself. In Hindi, I had to learn to express myself. Okay. And really like find the right words, because there's so many like idioms per se that you just can't translate it no matter what, like how you want to say it. It just doesn't, because it's almost like it's embedded in a culture. Yeah. That you can't really like, what are the right words to say certain metaphors or whatever.
It's like how some languages have different alphabets too. That you have to learn almost in
for sure.
that way. Yeah. So when you produce, what does your sound kind of sound like? Like, do you work with a producer specifically, or?
I think so. Like when I work on my own, which I find is the place where I tap into like my own creative voice. Yeah. I think it's nice to work with people, with producers, and to work on your own. And the reason being is I think is because like, I think we always, as artists, you're always growing. And what you like of yourself now may not be the same in 5 years. So I think it's important to always tap into that side of yourself and say like, okay, what do I like about like music now? What kind, like, am I vibing with like the 80s stuff, or like, what is it that's really me? And how do I want to bring that into my sound? And so then if you collaborate with people, I feel like it's a lot easier to communicate like what sort of side you want to bring out. Yeah. So I think both, for sure.
That makes so much sense. I know so many people that are like, oh yeah, this song I released 5 years ago, I hate it.
I'm in the same, I can't listen to my own music sometimes.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's because you talk about like these periods of growth, and I feel like hate can be a strong word. And sometimes people need to be like, yeah, that was a different version. Not that I'm not guilty of doing it too, but it's like, that was a different version of me. I'm going to give them that grace. Those were my influences then. This is what I'm working with now. Because there might still be people out there that vibe with 5-year-old song that you're like, oh, I never want to hear this thing again.
Yeah. I mean, do you find the same thing with yourself? Like you feel like in the past 5 years, you just can't.
Oh, like personality-wise? Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like your songs go through growth. You as a person go through growth.
Yeah. 100%.
That's true. So it just represents different parts of you as a person. Cool. Well, one question that I always love to ask everyone that comes on the show, and you've been doing music for a while, since the young years of piano, guitar, and drum trio with the siblings, is just like, if you had advice to someone who wants to start out in music right now, what would it be?
Oh, like start out from like a young age or like any age.
Any age. Oh. Just looking to get into it for the first time.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think like to start with, music should always like be a passion before it becomes a profession. In like the sense that like, I feel like it's one of those career paths where it's not guaranteed and it's very difficult, if we're going to be completely honest. But at the same time, I think if you stick to your authentic self, what really resonates with you, there's always going to be people who resonate with that as well. Yeah. And I think that's a perfect way to bridge your hobby and your passion into a professional side. So I think like do it for the love of music, start there. And I think like you can't go wrong with that.
There's highs and lows in careers too, right?
Yeah.
Like that totally.
Yeah, of course.
You can meet those different opportunities in life and just recognize them for what they are and still enjoy, as long as you're still enjoying it, you know?
Oh no, 100%. And I think that's like something that I've found like now at this point, having done music for a little while. Yeah. There are those highs and lows, and it's all about reconnecting with yourself as an artist and seeing where you are and always keeping that love for the music as your number one. And then that will always help you in your whatever the rest of that roller coaster looks like.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks, Karishma. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, I am on Instagram, and my handle is KARISHMA. So that's KARISHMA_DEO. And that's on Instagram. And I'm also on TikTok, as long as TikTok's still available in Canada. If you can find me, I'm there as well. But through my Instagram, you should be able to find all my other handles.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much. Can't wait to hear you sing a song for us.
Okay.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone at home, thank you for joining us to the City Surrey Showcase. See you next time.
फिर से एक बार बिखर जाते हैं, फिर से एक बार बिखर जाते हैं, चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं, चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं, फिर से एक बार उजड़ जाते हैं, फिर से एक बार उजड़ जाते हैं, चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं, हाँ चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं, रब की मर्जी से तुझे दिल दे दिया मैंने है, अब तो हर दिन खातिर तेरे लगे जीने हैं, रब की मर्जी से तुझे दिल दे दिया मैंने है, अब तो हर दिन खातिर तेरे लगे जीने हैं, हम उनमें से नहीं जो राहों में कहीं, हम उनमें से नहीं जो राहों में कहीं बिछड़ जाते हैं, चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं। हाँ चलते रे इश्क में पड़ जाते हैं